Okay. We are live right now on four different types of platforms.
Hi,
we
Mom.
are live on Twitch, YouTube, and for the first time ever,
2 times on Twitch.
And then they'll only see me, but they won't see these beautiful bean footages right on to my right and down there. But we're on Meet Me for the first time, and Meet Me is a site just like Facebook where you can meet people and become friends and stuff. And I've talked to a bunch of really cool people, and I figured why not use this platform to actually push the show a little bit more further, have more people come on and take a look at it. So we already have one bouncer controlling in there, and her name is Jessica. So thank you for coming aboard for the show tonight, and I appreciate it for you. It down if you're still in. So I'll be bouncing back and forth between all.
I can't get bounced, can I? Since I'm on the show, I'm a talent. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
All
but the thing also is that you're a mod in the YouTube channel anyway. So I mean, what's the difference?
So I can do what I want.
No.
Sorry, it's been a while. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, considering he's rocking out Massachusetts gear, I feel comfortable for a change.
Hey, I'm all over the place. Got the Cubs in the back.
I was about to say, what are you looking at? Because all I see are Cubs.
Oh, here.
The Portland Sea Dogs hat. That's from Maine.
See, I just see the bad Chicago baseball team.
Whoa, Anakin, bro. I just I can't get bounced.
Hey, my family is from White Sox territory. What am I supposed to say?
That's fair. Hey,
White Sox are a better team.
Although my cousin,
you're welcome.
Although my cousin, born and raised in White Sox territory, diehard Cubs fan. So go figure that one.
So we had a really crazy couple of days, to say the least.
Yeah.
Wicked crazy pinfalls, making bucket lists happen and check marking all that stuff off. So we'll start with
this guy.
We'll go from there one step at a time, like we usually do. So why don't we start with this? Friday night Smackdown was really good. The show was really enjoyable, like usual. Interesting how everything is now trickling down to Raw after what happened on Monday night, and we'll get to that. Out of this past week, which show out of the major three brands was the best show of the night?
I'm going to say NXT. I loved NXT this last week.
NXT is always good. You can't, as much as you want to, I want to be the smart answer guy. Raw, I mean, the ending alone. That was huge. The biggest moment in what?
Not to mention
Raw.
The first match we got.
Yeah, I mean,
that match is good. Yeah, the opening match.
Yeah, I finally watched it today.
SmackDown's been consistently great. NXT's always good, but I mean, I dance around it. Bobby Lashley is the WWE champion, and it's 10 years 10 years late, in my opinion.
Is it though? Because
my God, yes.
Well, here's the thing though. Lashley 10 years ago, no, I didn't care about him. A lot of people didn't. Like once he lost the ECW title to Vince McMahon, I was like, okay,
that's not his fault.
I'm not saying it is his fault. I'm just saying once he did that, I just stopped caring. And then I heard about his run in TNA and how that was really good. And then he comes back, and what does he do? Sammy and the sisters, and
maybe you're right.
The stuff with Lana.
10 years. This is like too long, but
this is like the best Lashley that has ever been seen in WWE.
When they signed him from the TNA run, they should have had this monster out the gate. That
100%.
Okay, so 10 years, I can backtrack my statement. I'm just saying it's long overdue. The TNA run where he had all the belts, you capitalize on that. How do you have a guy that has every belt in another promotion show up and he's got fake sisters and he's showing his butt? And I like the stuff he was doing with Leo Rush. I can tell you that, but they should have capitalized this on a long time ago. But I'm glad it's happened. I mean, it's better late than never, so I can't complain. So yeah, for the week, Raw had the best moment. I don't know if it was the overall best show. There was a lot of stuff in there that wasn't worth anything, but you can't top Lashley winning the title, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, having a world title change, that's always going to be a big talking point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think, first of all, the comment about him losing it to McMahon, you do not live far away from me. I will fight you. But
Midwest takeover.
Yes. But I will say I agree with the premise that as soon as he came back to WWE, it should have been that rise. They screwed that up with Lio Rush because that was amazing. It was really, really good. And now we see Lio Rush doing good things on the indies. He's very talented, and they just didn't like him. And it's a shame because we could have had this a long time ago.
They didn't like him because he wasn't there doing, so to speak, with his TNA stuff.
Exactly.
They break him down to build him back up, and then they want us to forget about that TNA stuff.
Exactly.
The mistake was having returned to WWE as a face. Bobby Lashley does not have the persona to be a baby face. He's a badass, kick-ass kind of person, and then him as a heel right now, that's what they should have come. Yes, he should have came back as in 2018 as a heel.
It's a very weird dynamic, and Joe Holbert was talking about this earlier today. They bring guys up through NXT most of the time, and when they do that, they build them into these monsters, and then they bring them to Raw, they bring them to SmackDown, which is supposed to be, by their own saying, an equal level brand.
Yeah.
And then when they bring these monsters to Raw or SmackDown, they like destroy them again, and all you're really doing is exactly. All you're really doing is making it obvious to everybody that you can say NXT's an equal brand, but based on what happens to every single person that comes up, it's not an equal brand because Shayna Baszler, perfect example. All of these dominant champions that they have come up, they don't ever do anything.
Could you imagine, like, not to go too far off topic on that, but we were talking baseball in the pre-show. Could you imagine if the Boston Red Sox had this stellar prospect in the minors and go, oh, you're a pitcher? We're going to have you play catcher when you get up to the majors.
They've done that.
Like, that's what they do it.
To do it consistently.
But to consistently say, I've got the best farm system in wrestling. And I don't think anybody's going to disagree. NXT is loaded with just top-tier talent.
Yeah.
Right now,
but then to bring them up to the main roster and then have them do the exact opposite of what they were just doing. I just talked about this on my little squash match podcast I do with Shayna Baszler. You had her like one of the most dominant NXT women champions of all time, and she's holding Nia Jax's butt donut on Raw Talk.
And you look at what they did with her at Elimination Chamber last year. She destroyed the whole match concept.
And then what did you eating pins?
Nia Jax is doing better than her. I was by Wall yesterday.
And they did the same thing with Lashley when he came back from TNA. They were like, well, you're back, but you're going to eat shit for a while. Excuse my language. Sorry. Fired up about it.
Well, and as far as like the idea that, like NXT is their third brand, like it's only an equal brand when WWE wants it to be. They did it because they did it for Survivor Series. And really, they first did it because let's not forget, most of their roster was stuck in Saudi because the plane couldn't take off. They had to bring NXT people in just to be able to put together a show. And then that's where the idea of, let's go ahead and let's really make this be like a thing for Survivor Series.
Well, they were.
But then after that,
the AEW signing. So when the AEW came along, they were like, NXT's just as good. And then they used it for a little bit and realized.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact of the matter is because there was that report today. I don't remember who, but saying, there's no plan for an NXT title match or an NXT women's title match for
Mania.
And there was a report it might move to Tuesdays.
Well, that's on the other thing too. Move to Tuesdays on Peacock, so you have a move from cable back to a streaming service, and then not having either of your champions having a title match at Mania when you have 2 nights of Mania just shows WWE does not care about NXT in the same way that it cares about Raw and SmackDown. And remember, you didn't even have Io as a choice on the graphic for Bianca to choose which champion she was going to face. It was Asuka or it was Sasha.
We made ours.
Yeah, well, because because
We care.
you see them as being on the same level. But
Because you
WWE
respect the business.
Well, how about this too? Like we're even glossing over the fact that by
Hey,
doing
why don't
that,
we just
that
get
means
some popcorn right now and just let
Yeah.
these three go while you and me, you're sitting on the field at Fenway Park. I'm chilling on the monster.
the
and these three-
WWE thought we're big badass WWE. We're going to put our show on Wednesday to try to counter program AEW, and they consistently got their butts kicked.
Yeah.
Well, they
That
were on
says a
Wednesday
lot.
long before AEW even existed.
No, they weren't.
All right,
By the way,
Hunter.
for
All right,
Hunter,
Hunter.
they're-
All right,
Hey,
Hunter.
hey, get your popcorn
They were a
ready.
Thursday show.
They were Thursday show on the
Right,
network,
okay,
and then
okay.
AEW
Fair enough,
goes,
fair
we're
enough.
going to go
My
Wednesdays.
apologies.
I'm a big proponent of that because I get trashed on social media quite a bit for no, AEW should move. NXT was there first. The only reason NXT was there first is because they jumped 2 weeks ahead to try to beat them to the punch.
Well, but what Hunter was also talking about when he said that was that they were on Thursdays and then they were streaming on Wednesdays. Like Wednesday was when NXT would actually have its premiere, and so that was what he was saying. It's like, oh well, NXT was there first. It's like they were there first on that same night, but on a streaming service as opposed to cable.
I think it's great for everybody. I'm not even on one of those NXT AEW like I pick a side. Like put one on Tuesday. When they were on Tuesdays when hockey was on, they were doing great numbers, and you're getting an extra 3,000 to 400,000 viewers a show. That's better for everybody. That puts more eyes on the product, and there's no having to jump back and forth as much as we love Wednesday nights. But I mean, shoot, it helps everybody.
And I think you also will see.
Happy.
Yeah, I'm going to wrangle this back in, considering. I'm going to wrangle this back in, considering you guys are like commandeering it. We've already had a Michigan takeover and a Midwest takeover. We need some ordinance in this.
Sorry, boss.
Midwest.
Yeah.
I haven't been on in a few weeks because I got injured.
Wicked
I'm
crazy
all fired
pinfalls, dude. Making freaking check mark bucket list happen. I mean, come on now. WWE is going to be WWE. AEW is going to do what they do, regardless of what anybody says on social media. It's going to be same thing. One of these companies on one of their shows is going to make chicken shit out of chicken salad. That's the point. I mean, Lashley was well overdue being the champion. The only problem I'll say about that photo that was released, there's one person in there that should have been in that photo, and it would have made it makes a bigger impact, in my opinion, would be Ron Simmons. Because even though it's a WCW title, WWE owns WCW. He was the first African American champion. He has been, and you could even Rock's thing, they get into it. I gotta like StreamYards when it pops down and out for a second. He was very intricate in The Rock's career, so without The Rock, then there wouldn't be anything else. So, and then it just led to everything that we have now. But Lashley being champion is well overdue. Now, the question I have is, and I post this, who is a true number one contender for him?
For Bobby?
Yeah.
I think Drew.
I think Drew.
Drew is, I mean, especially after that match that he just had with Sheamus, like he's a champ who lost after going through an elimination chamber and getting beat down by, yes, the current champion. But like that's kind of that's your built-in story right there.
That's true. Yeah.
If it's not Drew, what do you do with Drew at Mania? That's my only hold up. It's got to be Drew.
So here's where I think here's where I would like them to go. I don't know if they'll do it or not, just because again we don't know contracts and crowds and all that stuff. I mean, I know that we'll have a small crowd at Mania, but obviously you have a contract issue here. But
well, I mean, if it was Massachusetts, it's 50% capacity, and that's why you guys are sitting on the Green Monster right now.
That's right.
The Fastlane pay-per-view, there's still 2 Raws to go before we get there. Mm-hmm. So they're going to do something in between there. The Fastlane pay-per-view, though, is it's the first one on the Peacock Network. You want to have kind of that big moment. I wouldn't be surprised to see Drew and Bobby Lashley. Does this sound going all crazy?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. All right. So
it sounded like somebody doing a typewriter, the old school one.
Yeah. That was weird. So given that Peacock's going to kind of say like, hey, give us something that kind of launches us real well. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Drew and Bobby having their match, and then somewhere along the line, you get a Brock interruption, and then you get a triple threat between the three of them at WrestleMania, because I think that would be cool. You got three big names. It's going to look good on a marquee, and you're going to have something that fills the meat of your card here, because again, we already know you're going to have your two Rumble winners basically as your two main events. Like that's going to happen.
What about?
So I got something, and
to that point, what about? I hate to say it, but what if they pulled their Goldberg card and got it Mania? You know what I mean?
Don't
as
do
much
it.
As we hate it, but you get it out of the way.
Okay,
into the universe.
We do know he has one more match this year, so
Right.
we do have to. I mean,
Goldberg is going to end up at SummerSlam, regardless, or a Saudi show.
Well,
but
with Peacock, they could probably pay him a third match, maybe.
We just got this from Rita Daniels,
I don't want it, but
AKA the one who is one of the best at fantasy football in the DeCorpo League. I can tell you that much. Says that Texas is opening up, New Hampshire's next, and no masks wrestling to follow. Yeah, he's true.
I'll still wear my mask.
There's a company where it's saying you have to still wear a mask in Texas.
Yeah,
for a wrestling company. I saw it on Twitter.
I'll still have mine on, and I ain't going anywhere. So,
yeah.
I think it's interesting too because with the whole COVID situation and them going half capacity and Mania coming up, it's going to show how far companies are going to push. I know it's off topic about wrestling shows and stuff like that, but that's how we do it all the time. We go off topic all the time.
The WWE should set the example here because it sounds like they're going to be the first, like, really big outside of football to do this. They should set the standard. This is their opportunity.
Well, and we know they were paying attention to what was going on at the Super Bowl, which happened in that exact same stadium. They were paying attention and seeing what it was going to do. And based on the stuff that we heard coming out of the Super Bowl, WWE was going to be like, okay, how can we do things differently? What are some things we can do the same?
I think it's going to be interesting. Well, don't you think it's also interesting that AEW has been doing half capacity also, and now everyever's following suit?
I think
you got to remember they were
half capacity,
like 10%, but they were they're still having fans in the stands, and now everybody wants to do half capacity. I know Massachusetts, they're doing close to 50% capacity in the stands. Fenway Park's about 39,000, which you're commandeering 5 of those seats right now here. So it literally, you think about it, it's going to be about 20,000 people in Fenway Park alone. And, you never know. SummerSlam, if they do come back to Boston, don't be surprised if it's at Fenway Park. I mean, that's just me guessing or anything.
I don't think it will be because that's right in the middle of baseball season. That's right in the middle of baseball season.
They do, and people around here can test it. Mark and Roger and stuff like that. People who live around here can say it. There's about 2 weeks of no baseball in Boston in August.
If they do it with a West Coast swing, and then maybe couple it with the All-Star break. The All-Star break's in July.
Not intended
but
to
they're
be
pushing with the push back in the season. That would be perfect to do, something like that, or like a wrestling event in Fenway, because of the fact that they do concerts at Fenway. They have Billy Joel in Fenway in like August 15th or something like that, and that's when SummerSlam usually is.
I'm always a big proponent of doing SummerSlam outside if you can.
Yeah. Not to be disrespectful to Fenway, but oh well. For SummerSlam, you tend to like a big venue. Fenway's really not that big, is it? Like
40.
But if you're going
40,000
capacity, though, maybe that's fine.
Well,
you can go a little.
Yeah,
bit.
but again,
half capacity is 20,000. So I mean, you guys also think about it. If they do it at
basketball arena size, every SummerSlam has been in a hockey arena or a hockey or basketball arena.
The TD Bank right now, it's constituted. That would be, I think, about 30,000. So it'd be 15. So it'd be like 5,000 more in ticket sales compared to anything. But I mean, they could do something like that. I could see like Lashley being the champion till SummerSlam, and then something big happens, like Lesnar decides to turn around and show up or something.
I don't care how they do these events.
Mania, I don't think we're getting them. If we don't get Lesnar showing up by Mania. I don't think we'll be seeing him back.
Somebody
You're gonna get a
tweeted-
vaccine by May. Everybody
Somebody
in the US is
tweeted
gonna get a
earlier,
vaccine by
we all
May.
want Lesnar to show up until he shows up. We're all
Again,
excited.
I'm
good
fine
with
with not
Brock.
having him around. I don't need to have him around.
I'm good with the Brock. He's
I
good
like
with
Brock
me.
too, but I just
Yeah.
thought that was funny because then everybody's like, Brock's back part
When he's
time.
motivated,
When he's not there, nobody likes him. Yeah.
when he's motivated, and that's the problem. Is it's harder and harder to see a match where he's motivated. Like his match with AJ, his match with Brian, his appearance at the Rumble last year. Like those were good because he was motivated. But more often than not, he's just like, I'm just here to get a paycheck. Suplex, F5 pin.
Keep getting them checks.
Counter though, he's motivated when they give him something worth doing. Because when he's not motivated is when they're feeding him the same garbage over and over again.
Hey,
Well, yeah.
man, Copito.
He's
What's
a
up,
lot
Ryan?
like Randy Orton in that regard. Like Randy Orton, if he's not motivated, he will phone it in all night long. But if
you know what?
Good
But if
segue
he's-
to
Write it
that.
better. Make it better.
Good segue to that. What do you think
Marty.
about that segment of Alexa
terrible.
and Randy and stuff? Oh my god.
I said
And
this
I-
the other day. Is this payback for all the times Randy Orton was really crappy to writers?
Unintended.
I'll be honest. Yesterday, I did not know what that was.
It was hilarious. That's what it was. Oh, I loved it. It was so bad that I loved it.
It's kind of like reminding me. You ever watched that? Not the old school, not the new version of the movie or TV show, but the old school movie, The Craft, the original one.
Yes.
It reminded me
Neve
of that,
Campbell?
where like she's standing into the
Yeah.
star, and all of a sudden, Jack in a Box comes out of nowhere, and she's like, "No, not yet."
Yeah, I remember.
And
that.
you're like,
If this
And
is
it just
anybody
turns
else
into-
but Randy Orton, does this damage them forever?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It
It's
does.
Randy can have a match against himself on Raw next week or something.
Oh,
and
yes.
Ethan Page.
The Funhouse RKO versus RKO. I am here for it because it has to end with him punting himself in the head.
Legends
could
kill
happen.
legends.
that could happen.
Because it's got to put the other one down.
So before we go, everybody leave a like and a comment on this. You leave a thumbs up; it goes a long way on the algorithm and stuff. If you're on Facebook, do the same thing and just hit the subscribe button. Let's get on that road to 50 for Twitch and see Anakin literally yell at me about how bad a Gears of War player I am, like he was on Saturday.
Anakin never yells. What are you talking about? I'm just kidding.
Go back on the footage. He's like, "You freaking died." I'm like, "That's the closest to yelling I'll get from him."
pretty much.
So much going on, and reverb on top of that.
I was like, who's partying?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me? You're the one who has the freaking huge freaking Bears thing in the background.
That's Cubs.
That's Cubs. Bears.
To be fair,
I'm
is
not-
a bear.
Yeah, I guess, but we don't
Same
confuse
city,
the two.
different sport.
Yeah. So we'll go to this, and then we'll latter half just do what we usually do: shoot the shit, have fun, make fun of each other like we always do. The Big E Langston 24. Freaking
I knew there
awesome.
was homework. God
I haven't seen it yet.
damn it.
He
It's
even
not
asked before
homework.
we started class.
He
He did not
asked.
to me. I wasn't
Yeah.
here yet.
Yeah, there's never homework on this
Yeah,
show. You
'cause
know
you were
that. That's a
almost
bunch of ton. A lot of the things that I pointed out, you could actually contribute to Raw last night. And the reason why I'm segueing to back and forth between them. If there was not that opportunity for Lee, like to get a championship for like Keith Lee, in all these opportunities for like Survivor Series and stuff, Lee wouldn't have been double champion. Langston, if the same thing wasn't for him to get into Iowa to meet that one person who sat next to Jim Ross, yes, I'm spoiling it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. We wouldn't have Intercontinental Big Lee. It's the same thing with Lashley. It's opportunity, chances and stuff like that. But I posted this as a super chat last night, is that we had two major title
You made
changes.
Anakin leave.
We had
He's
two major
out.
He's like, you said Keith Lee, I'm out. Peace.
yeah, we had two major title changes in about 2 months. where a lumberjack match was used in almost exactly 2 months. And that's the interesting thing is that they had, Sammy and Langston versus each other with the Lumberjacks on SmackDown. And then 2 months later, they did the same thing last night on Raw. Which match do you think had a bigger impact, like as a casual fan, if you were watching at that point? Like you just scroll and you saw that whole thing.
I feel like I like that they did that for those two because they are historic title changes. So you get that ability to do, because you don't have a crowd, that gives you that ability to at least with those people that you're doing all of this with all the time. It makes a cool moment. I do like that. But to the point with the 24 documentary, we talked about how this is so overdue for Bobby Lashley. This is so overdue for Big E. What was the storyline with Kofi? It's been 11 years. You know who had been along his side for 9 of those years was Big E. Like,
yep.
I mean, it's hard to not notice that all of these great champions are taking a really long time to get there. And they all have something in common that we know Vince doesn't always do very well. Like, that's the frustrating part to me, is seeing that stuff continue to happen. And as far as which one is kind of the more emotional one, I think looking back at it now, knowing what we know was going on at that time, I think for me it's Big E, just because we now know that he was very involved with what was going on with what was about to happen with Brody Lee. And to me, that's bigger to me, because again, you're doing it while going through something tragic during a holiday. Like, to me, that's why it's a timing thing. But a African American champ on Raw, we don't see that very often, because Kofi was on SmackDown. And before that, it was The Rock a long time ago. So
arguably the face of the company spot. If you take Roman Reigns out of the equation, for the last WWE, since the WWE's existed, the Raw WWE World Champion is like, you are the face of the company.
Yeah, the only person as equally protected as Roman is Bobby Lashley. He's been very well booked for a while.
Imagine if they go all the way to Survivor Series. Woo! That's going to be a beat up, knock him down.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
It would be one of those matches, be insane, but that's months away. We get to sit and just pray that happens.
You'd kill a lot of your talent, but to just have those two dudes just slaughter people for the next 6 to 8 months, you could build something real good there.
See, that brings me to wondering, like, okay, so I think we're pretty much all in agreement. Drew is who Lashley is going to face at Mania. That seems easy. My question is,
probably,
once Lashley's done with Drew, who is he really going to go against? Because let's face it, as far as guys on Raw, there's not a ton of baby faces. You've got Kofi, and there's definitely a story there about the last 2 Black WWE champions having a match. The fact that Kofi really got screwed in his match with Lesnar for the title. Like, you can do that, but apart from that, there's really not anybody on Raw on the face side who could really be it, because you've got Big E on SmackDown, you've got Owens on SmackDown. Right now it's like
you got one person on Raw that a lot of people don't say it, but he's getting hot at the right time, even though he just got called up, as Damian Priest. That would be an interesting matchup, Lashley and Priest.
That would be.
Isn't the Money in the Bank in May? Am I not?
Yeah,
I believe so.
So you have that match at Mania. Whoever comes out on top.
And next thing you know, Miz gets another cash in.
Right.
And all
no, because that'd make him 3 times. No.
I don't think they will. But it's like, do you turn Styles face? But I feel like if you do, like, it'd start to feel a little bit like a Big Show. Like he's had 4 or 5 different heel or face turns.
So wouldn't technically Lashley be the heel in all of this? You could have. I mean, you could have.
Yeah,
let me backtrack there. Lashley's the heel, but I think after this, right, it's kind of he's a face now, maybe.
He's a tweener. Let's take a tweener.
He can
I think
be
he's
what
a
Drew,
tweener who's more on the heel side.
Yeah,
he can be that same kind of badass guy that you go, I like watching him beat people up, like what they did with Drew a year ago.
Yeah, why aren't we talking about turning Drew? I mean, honestly,
I'm pissed off
been
with Drew
screwed
yesterday.
over like twice now.
I'm pissed off with Drew yesterday. I'm sorry, but Drew, I know I'm happy Bobby Lashley's a champion, but Drew had to get involved in that match somewhere.
No,
but here you got beat up after Elimination Chamber. Bobby Lashley missed catches on. You should be pissed off. You shouldn't be like patient.
Yeah, well, sure, but it's
if it's like Stone Cold Steve Austin wouldn't have got involved.
Okay, but with his
Drew's not Stone Cold.
Exactly. With his character is about he's about being the guy who will fight anybody who is that big brutal dude, but he also respects the rules and all that stuff.
Oh,
I think for him to
the rules.
Drew does. So for him to say, like,
Aaron's like, screw the rules, why not?
You know what? A babyface should be able to break the rules.
And there's a time for that. But I think given the way that that's set up, for him, it's, go ahead, have your match, and then I'll face you afterwards. Because here's the other thing. This is layers, right? Last person to...
We got the layer quote from freaking Ryan from freaking Booty Pro Wrestling right now. We're all talking about layers there.
So, but no, here's your layer. The last person to beat Drew or to beat Bobby Lashley before teaming up with MVP was Drew McIntyre.
Really? Oh yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing too. Like,
the question I have is because this is the way it's going now towards Drew with Lashley. Are you guys geared up and ready for a repeat of all the history that's going to happen? Like, we're going to repeat the whole post-COVID stuff. By the way, everybody, we're literally 2 weeks away from COVID anniversary. So, yeah. But the COVID New Year. But
COVID New Year.
It literally is. Like, think about it, right? They did this match with MVP, without Shelton, without Cedric, almost by Mania this coming year, almost a little bit 2 months after Mania. It'll be almost a year at that point, and you're finally getting that match again.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Lashley at that point 1 year ago, or when it happened, Lashley was just on the start of this rise. He wasn't where he is now. There's a big difference. It's the same thing. Like,
he got rid of
we got Drew and Roman at Survivor Series. We had just seen that match like a year and a half ago at WrestleMania, but that was a different Drew and a different Roman, and they were different, and they were different enough and had grown enough and had gotten hot enough where by the time we got to Survivor Series, even though we had seen that match 18 months previously, people were still excited for it because we were going to be seeing a different Drew and a different Roman. If it's just the same old thing that we've seen over and over and over again, then yes, it does get boring. But if we're talking about different people, then it's a completely different thing. Like, we've seen Drew and Daniel Bryan. They had a banger of a match at Fastlane 6 years ago. But now here it is 6 years later, and we've seen a different Daniel Bryan and a very different Roman Reigns, to now where the little bit we got at Chamber was not enough for people. They want to see a full-blown match between the two.
To me, that's the story, because he needs to be on the show again and win matches again.
I think he hurt, but eventually.
But again, you got to be on the show to be involved in those types of things, and hopefully he heals and all that stuff.
Yeah.
A guy who was booked terribly and has been gone for a couple weeks, let's not throw him in the title picture quite yet.
But I mean, we're talking. He's got till May. If you think about, we're talking Mania. You win.
Yeah, he can heat up real quick. He's got to get healthy and he's got to be there.
I'm throwing new guys out there because I mean we're sitting on Drew, and then who else? Sheamus, maybe, and then after that, they have a problem. Their lack of depth.
And we mentioned AJ Styles. He's been very well booked for a while now, and I don't know what his WrestleMania plans are. I did see someone suggest something. Right now. Somebody suggested something, and I do like it. Triple H would be a good one, but I would like to see
a good segue on that one too.
It looks like Shane and Braun in WrestleMania right now. It looks like maybe Drew and Lashley. Those Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks.
Well,
edge
you
moment.
did say one name that triggered something in my synapses real quick. Is that we'll talk about that, but Aaron, keep going. I just want to mention that little
I think
nugget
that's
right
all
there.
the matches. I think that's all the matches. Look, I think 3 of those matches I said are confirmed and none. So okay, those are 5 matches, but 3 of them are confirmed. It looks like it. It's no. Let's be honest. No, everybody here, if we agree on this, we don't want to see Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon, do we?
No, I do. I totally
I
do. I want to see
I
Braun
would be-
throw Shane.
It would be, yeah.
I want to
Ray
see.
and
I want to see Shane throw, or I want to see Shane get thrown off that pirate boat. I know that's Kevin Owens' spot, but I want to see Braun throw Shane.
Kevin Owens will be like, "Let my match go first, so I can do it first." Because
And
they
just
can be like, only one of us can do it.
Do one
And
on
then
both
Shane will
nights. I
do
don't
it
care.
better.
What do you think?
Or,
you think Sean?
or Shane will be on the ship itself, and Kevin will climb all the way up to the top of the crow's nest.
There you go.
I
And
don't
so-
mind seeing Shane McMahon like once or twice a year do something.
The only
crazy.
show this is the only show we talk about throwing people off. I mean, next thing you know, John's gonna say, "Hey, why don't we throw throwback off the freaking monster?"
The only thing, I'll say this. I'll say the only thing I
On the
didn't
Phil
about,
style.
the only thing I didn't think about
Nah, I'm
SmackDown
not trying to get kicked.
is the Bianca Belair deciding her opponents for WrestleMania segment. We all knew she was making Sasha Banks, but how they did it did not excite me at all. I thought it was a letdown.
Well, the
that-
problem
did
with that
like-
is when
Yeah.
you don't have your Raw champion built very well, it doesn't make for exciting television, and that's a Raw problem infecting SmackDown.
Yeah,
But I do like how Sasha was like, "Look, I'm the boss. I am the blueprint. I am the standard.
it's that guy.
You pick me, we main event." Like she was telling Bianca to pick me. She wasn't being one of those people
Reginald.
trying to convince the winner to pick the champion on the other brand. She's like, "No, bring it. Let's go." I did like that.
It's all Reginald. Like, what is he trying to do? Is he trying to like get? Is he like?
We've already established that he is Carmella's sidekick from a few years ago. I forget his name. I feel bad.
Ellsworth.
Always hyping up Sasha
Ellsworth.
Banks. Hyping up
Wait a
Sasha
minute.
Banks.
Hold
I
on.
like Sasha Banks say, "You don't speak for me." Finally,
We just compared Reginald to
No,
Ellsworth.
he did. He did.
who did?
He did. Throwback.
The fuck?
He
No.
did. I didn't.
Sir,
He did.
no,
He did. No, back then.
unacceptable. I don't care if it was just your birthday. No,
I think
I agree. I mean, but it's like it's so
I
weird
could kind of a
because-
comeback for that, but I'm being nice.
because I've seen Sasha and her husband on Up Up Down Down, like they're a thing.
Yeah.
So that's why like this whole thing
that's
is
not
just
canon though within WWE. Like you
Well,
can't mix those.
it, and that's true because I have a hard
he
time.
makes her gear though.
That's true. Because I have a hard time seeing Adam Cole as a bad guy through this whole UE thing. When when I'm watching him every Wednesday make bonehead plays and chugs it up his hand before he passes it along. So
Good
Yeah.
good segue on that part, Anakin. Nobody had homework, by the way, because this ain't a classroom. I'm sorry, Ray, but
I need a break once in a while, right?
yeah, the tweet that went out that probably everybody saw, which was interesting, is
What's Twitter? Just kidding.
was towards Finn from Conor McGregor about he's tired of being a nice guy and stuff. That if that happens, that will bring
no. I don't want to see it.
Let him finish.
I don't want to see it.
Calm down, Kanye.
If you don't know anything and you're just tuning in, Anakin sent from Sisters Custom Designs. Go check out their Facebook group. Lovely Kanye West shirt saying that Denise Salcedo is the #1 fan. Anyways, that is canon, by the way. That is canon in the wrestling community.
I agree, Becca. It's kind of.
Anyways, your point was
the thing is that if that happens, that has to be night 2. And I'm sorry if with the whole Edge and Roman thing, but if you have Conor McGregor versus Finn Balor and they're like making this huge buildup about Ireland, and then you throw like a cinematic version of this stuff, because there probably will be another cinematic match, and that would make more sense because there's no Taker match.
Randy Orton versus Randy Orton.
But there is a Taker documentary, a Taker show coming out again. Taker Rising.
Goldberg documentary too.
I think it would make more sense if you do that and bring McGregor and have it at a Sigma match, that would be night 2, because night 1 would be Sasha and Bianca. That's the hardcore fans night. That's the night you put up a lot of your good matches on there. But if you want the casual fan, especially if they're putting this on NBC and stuff, and they put it on the Peacock and stuff, everything, it makes it more easier to access. And Conor McGregor, everybody knows who that is. And literally you set up him and Finn and make NXT like more eyes on NXT that way for the build up on Mania.
I think
for that
it's too
match.
early. I think Conor McGregor is obviously he's one of the most popular UFC fighters, but he lost his last fight. He's not at the top of the UFC as he once was. I don't think this is the right time.
Well,
See,
they're not.
That's
They're
what
not
makes
bringing
him
up.
perfect for going to a WWE. Because remember, Ronda lost 2 straight matches, and then she came to WWE because by that point, then she needed WWE to kind of get her luster back. Yeah, because when she lost the first match, her image was shattered.
So she was a sore loser. She was a sore loser, big time sore loser. Ronda Rousey.
When Ronda came in, she also came in and took a while to really do anything. And as far as like his current or
her second match was a title match. Let's not forget.
But they took a long time to get there. Like they gave her a lot of time to get ready. And as far as like McGregor's lost a couple fights, I mean they're not doing a shoot fight. So I mean to me that's not that big of a deal. But I think kind of like what we talked about when we talked about Goldberg before, where you had suggested a cinematic match. If you're going to have fans in the crowd, they're not going to go to WrestleMania in Tampa in a stadium and then watch a screen to get Conor McGregor. Like that's not going to play well. And I don't think that it would help McGregor either. To me, McGregor, if you do McGregor and Balor, you do it at SummerSlam or you do it something else because you don't have enough. Yeah, you don't have enough time to set that up properly.
And they would have brought him in already.
Yeah. You'll notice I'm about to say the line after this. That would make more sense as a headlining match at Fenway Park in Boston, South the End.
But I also just don't
talk.
But I also just don't see if Vince gets his hand on Conor McGregor, having him deal with NXT. No, you want to put him either on Raw, which is your flag show, or on SmackDown, which is on broadcast TV.
Did anybody else say it cost $15 at Fenway Park?
But let me just finish this. Is that it makes more sense to put him on NXT because of the fact that Conor sent that tweet to Balor and Triple H. He didn't send it to the WWE account. So Conor must see more value being in NXT than on the main roster after seeing what Ronda's gone through as a main roster talent. Even if it's a one-off like Floyd, though.
I don't doubt that, but I cannot see Vince in his wildest dreams getting a hold of a mega star like Conor McGregor and having him go to NXT, which by this point, remember, will be on Peacock. Most likely NXT will be on Peacock. No, you want him on your TV show drawing ratings. If anything, they'll bring Balor back up.
You want him on
Well, let's just say this much. Like the $1 Million Man said, everybody's got a price.
Maybe what they do is Vince goes, "Hey, pal, tell you what, I'll give you a Balor if you come to Raw and fight Sheamus."
Yo, Anakin, you know this. You know, a big Becky Lynch fan as you are. You remember a couple years ago, Cyborg was always petitioning for a match with Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. They're always tweeting back and forth. That never came to fruition.
Because Cyborg was the one who wanted it, and nobody in WWE wanted her. Sean and Sapp reported this. Cyborg was trying to get it, and WWE was like, "We don't have any interest in Cyborg."
Yeah.
Cyborg was getting herself all worked up for something that was never going to happen because WWE had zero interest.
All right, I meant this.
See what you started, throwback? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Like I said, nobody's talking about Bow Wow at Mania. That dude's pushing for some matches too.
No, versus Nicholas.
No, I don't want to see Bow Wow. And here's the other thing too about Conor. I don't need to see Conor. when Brock Lesnar came from UFC, that made sense because he'd already been in WWE. We had seen him reach reach the highest level in WWE and then leave to UFC and become an even bigger star. That made all the sense in the world. Ronda Rousey coming,
maybe
made
I'm
all the biggest
alone
sense.
on this, but
they can't keep bringing in.
Shows up at WrestleMania, man. I like it. I just bring them all out.
Same.
It's Mania. It's like the Super Bowl of wrestling,
And that's
when
true.
they parade out all the celebrities.
I just remember, the last time they had a big former UFC guy come in was Cain Velasquez, and we all remember what we got after that.
Well,
that's just
that.
Let's just be honest, right? Who's a bigger draw, money wise? Like I said, $1 Million Man said everybody's got a prize.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that who's a bigger draw? Cain Velasquez, Tyson Fury. And if I say, I'll even put this person's name in there because of that happened years ago with the show. Floyd Money Mayweather, or right now Conor McGregor. If you had to pick 4 of those to make 2 main event matches, who would you pick for night 2?
Mike Tyson.
Really, Mike Tyson?
Yes.
Do you want somebody to chew their ears out?
Yeah.
That was the first boxing match I ever watched.
That was
smoke a whole
too,
bunch
but
of,
it would be Mickey Ward.
He'll just smoke a whole bunch of weed before his match. It'll be fine.
Mayweather should never beat Big Show.
I think
they were not
going to
break Floyd Mayweather.
You could have McGregor for a 2 contract run like they do with Goldberg. Have McGregor do SummerSlam, and then have him do a match at Mania, even though it's just going to be a short build. Have him do a huge match at SummerSlam with Sheamus, and then have the NXT shine because they need an NXT person for their title defense, and have McGregor shine on that. That will bring more casual fans to NXT on Wednesday nights, and it will raise their numbers up. That's like hitting the Goldberg glass case, break the ceiling kind of thing, the emergency glass case. If they do it, it's not going to be on Vince's call, though. It's going to be on Hunter's call because that tweet was directly to Hunter.
That may have been directed to him. Doesn't mean
the floor. Teacher Ray, is that cool if I cut up? He had the teacher voice.
You got to raise your hand. You
had the teacher voice there. So, do you think that they care that much about raising NXT's numbers, or would you rather raise the numbers for Fox? You're making more money on Fox.
I think
you're making more money with Raw than they're getting from. I think they're only getting what, $50 million for NXT on USA, which they're moving. Yeah. So just devil's advocate, I don't disagree with you, Throwback. I think NXT's numbers do need a boost. But if you're trying to please somebody giving you $1 billion or $50 million, you know what I mean? You
if they move it to Tuesday nights, this show moves to Tuesday night. It moves from Tuesday nights. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna go and do that again.
Well, I was wondering about that. And as far as they're
counter programming the juggernaut that is Throwback.
Yeah, and then
go on Thursday nights and counter program the juggernaut that is the Mr. Warren Hayes show, because Warren thinks nobody will go up against his show. You can prove him wrong.
Throw it down.
9. This was an 8. It was okay.
So as far as
that's treading lightly right there, man. That's treading lightly on respect.
I'll tread heavily. I'll tread heavy on that.
As far as boosting NXT ratings, if they really
that's why the other channel's open. You can actually tread heavily on that if you want to do that.
But if they really are moving to Tuesday and they're moving it to the Peacock Network specifically, not just regular TV, I think that signifies all you need to know about the moving viewers and all that stuff. And just not to be negative, I don't think anything's going to ever happen with McGregor, though. I just don't think it'll. Yeah. I just don't think they'll be able to come to an agreement on. Okay, here's the price, and here's the story that we'll build.
He weighs 145 pounds.
He's not big either.
He's a cruiserweight.
Yeah, but he's smaller
than
Conor McGregor.
I know, but he's tiny.
Balor's like 180.
Here's the thing, though. Throwback. Like you say, how Conor directed that tweet at Hunter. Sure, that doesn't mean Hunter's going to be the one making the choice. It's still Vince McMahon's company. He can tweet at Hunter all he wants. If Vince wants Conor McGregor on Raw or SmackDown, that's where he'll do it. And ultimately, Conor cares more about the money than about where he would go. Yeah. Like he might want to face Balor, but if it's
That's what I want.
Sure.
I'm
But if it's between, facing Balor or he gets an extra $5 million to be on Raw and SmackDown instead, pretty sure Connor's going to take that extra $5 million.
Hey guys, you know what's gonna happen if NXT moves to Tuesdays? All the AEW fanboys.
Oh, we're already seeing it. It's already happening. It's already happening. People going, well, I'm gonna watch Dark instead of NXT. It's already happening.
If McGregor wants Balor that bad, it would probably make more sense to just move Balor to Raw or SmackDown. I bet you they would do that before they put McGregor on NXT.
I think
what a simple solution. What a brilliant mind we have.
That's what I was going to say.
This is why we fantasy book.
Because
this is why
honestly, it's Karrion Kross's title. It should be, honestly, but
yeah,
he needs a new fantasy book. I mean, next thing you know, John's gonna say, "Why don't we get?" Acts like Vince. Why don't we get that triple threat match? We get Finn and Cross and Edge, and let's see who has the bigger balls. Oh yeah, that's right. I got the bigger balls.
I'd watch that. I'm just saying.
Heck yeah, I would.
If they really want to make that match happen, Vince would pull some strings and be like Balor, and then what do you do after that? Do you have McGregor lose to Balor?
And realistically,
you just completely took the shine off McGregor. Then if you have McGregor win, is he now your NXT champion? So now you have a outsider as NXT champion, which is looked at as the wrestling show. It's a weird.
It's not like they haven't done that before, though.
An outsider is a 24/7 title. If you want to have an outsider wear that, that's I'm totally fine with that.
Wrestling 101, they've done it before. All I have to say is, have you seen David Arquette with the WCW championship?
See how much backlash that got, and they are
still
still talking about that today as the biggest mistake in wrestling history.
But I'm saying this, if they ever did something like that with McGregor, at least McGregor has more clout than freaking Arquette.
Is Bad
especially
Bunny got
in
more
the sport
clout than McGregor?
Maybe.
Twitter clout, yes.
Maybe Connor would get a title match. There's no way they'd put the title on Connor. There's no possible way.
It's McGregor.
He's a loose cannon.
Very.
Yeah.
He likes to talk.
You're not putting your
talk. He likes to hear himself talk. He's a lot of talk.
I love Conor McGregor.
Hey, Aaron, nothing wrong with people wanting to hear themselves talk.
And
is that AnakinJMt's Twitter bio?
No.
It should be.
And he's not that loose cannon in the fun sense that like Pat McAfee is, where like he still knows where the line is, even though he's
McGregor's
really
gonna
throw
throw
pushing
things
it.
through a bus.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like we keep talking about NXT because Balor and all that stuff, and you made the very simple point of put him on Raw, but even if you do it on NXT, the match itself is going to end up being on a takeover. You're just going to end up doing vignettes on NXT anyway. So that's not really the big deal because you're going to book it as a pay-per-view match anyways. And yeah, I just, like I said, I don't think it'll end up happening because, again, you mentioned he tweeted it at Triple H. I could tweet the same thing at Triple H. And yes, I get level of like notoriety is part of what's at play here. But just because he tweets it at Triple H doesn't mean it's going to happen. Like I said, look at Bow Wow.
I'll retweet you.
Soulja Boy certainly isn't going to end up on WWE anytime soon. I don't imagine, but he tweeted at people.
Triple H probably looks at his replies once a week.
Soulja.
He probably doesn't even look at his replies like that much anyway. He looks at them probably like once a week. It's replies on Twitter. That's it. They probably missed that tweet.
Basically, everybody wants to be in wrestling. That's all I'm getting out of this.
Because they get relevant again. Wrestlers. The UFC fighters that go to WWE, they do it to get relevant again. That's the only reason.
Well, not necessarily, not in every case. I mean, I know the guy's not super popular right now, but like Matt Riddle said, the only reason that he went into UFC was because he was too little to go into pro wrestling. Like he always wanted to be a wrestler. It's just when he grew up, it was the massive guys. And while he's filled himself out pretty big, like he used to be like he fought at like, I think 180 when he was in UFC. He was not a big dude. So I mean the top UFC fighters. The top UFC fighters. The ones Riddle was really like he was on the rise. He was a really good UFC fighter. It's just he and Dana White didn't get along.
That were going up there. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't get along with Dana White, and props to him for that because you know what?
I'll say the best UFC fighter besides Brock Lesnar. The best UFC fighter to make transitions to wrestling is Ken Shamrock.
Actually, no. Believe it or not, Lashley is 15-2 in MMA. So I mean, he would be considered.
But he was
one
in
of the best.
Bellator though. Like competition level's not the same. So, but I mean, it's
Shamrock was really the first, to make that transition from mixed martial arts
because
to
like he was doing MMA before UFC even really was a thing. So
yeah.
Y'all don't
And he's
forget
still doing
about Tank.
wrestling.
Don't forget about Tank Abbott and 3 count,
Oh
baby.
my god!
did you watch the watch along on Sunday night?
No, I didn't, but I just
Oh,
saw Tank
it was-
Abbott 3 count. Don't make me walk off the set.
That show was so bad. It was the Super
Oh,
Brawl
dude,
2000 or whatever. It was
I have
awful.
I have like this really soft spot in my heart for like really bad late 1990s, early 2000s WCW
Oh, same
stuff.
Same
It's
for sure.
so
I love
bad,
watching it just
but
because
I
of how
love
bad it is.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I
so
was
funny.
a WCW kid growing up because it was on earlier and it was an hour longer at the time until I realized, oh shit,
That's probably why it died. Is it was an hour longer.
It was
Well,
it was rough.
now that we got to talk some of the wrestling out of stuff, let's talk some sports because, well, we have Aaron here and he's the sports guy usually for the most part, but we're all wearing sports stuff.
Well, and that's
JJ.
That's my cue to leave because I don't talk sports and I do got to get going.
Before we do that, can I bring up one more wrestling topic?
See ya.
I was going to bring one other thing afterwards, so yeah.
The excitement that I have to see whatever the hell an exploding barbed wire match is this Sunday. I'm not looking forward to staying up super late on a Sunday night, but yes, I'm excited.
Can we
for
talk
that match.
about that? Did WWE ruin us for late pay-per-views? Because
we got spoiled for getting a late pay-per-view.
6 hours. Yeah,
I think
Elimination Chamber was like 2.5 hours.
Well, and I think the pandemic they adjusted very well to just doing, hey, let's get them in, let's get them out, and we'll make it quick. But AEW is different in the sense that like they don't do pay-per-views every month.
Yeah.
But they also, what made it harder is something that they did to themselves, and it's putting it on Sunday. They had always been on Saturdays, and I loved it. This Sunday deal, like it's
I'm against the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, which is also a weird time to switch
Not
days
needed,
when you're competing with one of your partners. Like TNT is a major partner for them, and that's where the All-Star game is. And like I get it, different groups of people.
It's pay-per-view, right?
I will say this though
like,
too, that the NBA All-Star game, I'm a big basketball fan. It's not.
But I don't think it was needed.
But it's not what it used to be, and hell, the players don't even want to play in it. So why would I want to watch it?
Yeah. JJ Watt, Arizona Cardinal. I wanted to talk to Aaron and you guys about that. That's an interesting 1-2 punch. Former number one pick for the Patriots with JJ Watt on the other end. That's going to be a really good defense. Where do you see the Cardinals now fitting out in the West out that way?
Well, I wasn't surprised because he immediately said, like, I want to go play with DeAndre Hopkins. And that's exactly what he did. So I think it's good. That division is going to be very fun as it should have been last year.
The tough division.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's going to be interesting because now how many more top tier free agent defensive players are going to be out there that other teams can get? I mean,
on the defensive end?
Yeah.
I know there's some good linebackers out there like Shaquille Barrett from Tampa Bay.
He's very underrated.
They're going to lock him up after that run he had.
I was very upset when Denver couldn't afford to keep him, which I understood because when he got let go, it was Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and I think DeMarcus Ware might have still been there. Shane Ray was there still, and they were still using him as, hey, first-round pick. And so it was it was a bummer to see him go, but he's very good.
I'm happy for J.J. Watt. He's going to Arizona. It's a tough division. He's not the player he once was with the Texans, but he can still provide some leadership. He can still play a bit. Don't expect him to get like 10 sacks a season. Like
if he stays healthy.
Yeah, if he stays healthy.
And it's a 2-year deal. So
Arizona has always had a good defense, and they do their offense. They do have Hopkins, but they need more for their offense. Murray's on the rise, but
they've got a good. Their receiving core is young, but it's good. But they're
Fitzgerald's a free agent.
Yeah.
Okay. Rumors coming out on some reports that JJ Schuster might be possibly landing in New England, which
means that overrated receiver is going to turn into a Hall of Famer.
He is an overrated receiver.
Well, no, he doesn't have Brady throwing him the ball. So
where do you see Schuster landing, and if it's New England, who does he get the ball from?
Some team has a lot of cap room.
Well, I mean, you also got to remember some of those cap movements that they saved last year with the exemptions and stuff. Some of those are coming back. Deontay Hightower's coming back, so that's going to make that defense instantly better for the Patriots.
Chung, right? Is Chung coming back?
Yep, and Schuster if he does come into the fold. But the question is, who's the quarterback?
Maybe he's going to be all elite.
Oh man, him with Trevor Lawrence, that wouldn't. I mean,
Trevor Lawrence is receivers. Trevor Lawrence at the next pay-per-view at Double or Nothing. Trevor Lawrence appears at Double or Nothing. Come on,
Signs the Jags at Double or Nothing. I'd like that'd be cool.
So they didn't. Shame on Tony Khan because that man knows how to sell and he knows how to market. How in the world, when you were doing the Stadium Stampede match and you did that scene going through the bar, how did you not have sitting next to Adam Page a mustached Gardner Minshew also sitting at the bar with him? How did you miss that? That would have been great content.
Well, we've done a really good show. This whole show just went quick. We were just bouncing around like crazy.
We were screaming at each other. It was hilarious.
It was the best. It
was going to be his teacher voice came out.
After also having a mellow Saturday show, after having a mellow 2-hour Saturday show with everybody popping in and stuff, except one person who couldn't. Knock knock.
I got a job. I gotta work.
Yeah, I know.
I cut my finger. Like I'm injured and I'm working. Look, what do you want me to do?
Look at that sausage right there.
Yeah. So my finger was Kofi Kingston, and the bandsaw at work was Brock Lesnar. If that says anything.
Ouch.
It's getting better though. But yeah, I still wish you happy birthday. I would have been there.
I know, but we needed a show like this just to be upbeat and quick because of the fact that it was so kind of like serious Saturday. If anybody got to watch the 40th party kind of thing from the community, check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. Yeah. But the best moment is there. I'm gonna turn around and save it and put it out there on the new channel. Is Ray's reaction as soon as Sean Ross Sapp popped in.
Oh no, you clipped that?
We're gonna clip it, yeah. And
I literally, was such a mark. I feel so dumb.
It was one of those things. Like I was just like, you sit back and look at his eyes. He's just like, what? He was like the best and just making bucket list things happen and stuff like that. But it's always great to have Sean on the show and everybody on the show.
The man is the Adam Schefter of wrestling. For me to be on screen with him, I was like, whoa, didn't plan on that. So I did mark out a little bit, and I feel stupid about that. But
no, don't feel stupid about that. I'm a big proponent of like people always say act like you've been there. No, like this is wrestling. It's fun. Like exactly. Like live it up. Like have fun with it, man. Like that's my thing. Like
and then
why act you marked out because that was your dude. Like that's fantastic. Like
and then there's John after the whole tweet that Sean put out for Fightful asking for on-air talent. I'm like, I'm down whenever you need to. And John's like, I'm there for it. Let's watch it. I'm like,
so that's a bucket list thing of mine, obviously. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw my name into the ring. And then I'm going to like every comment on the thread. So at least he sees that I'm serious and I'm available. So Sean, if you're listening, holler. I'm available. I'll make it happen.
Yeah, Wrestling Puck is up for sale. Literally, he's kind of
but I could tell
Appleton
you I'm
Street doing that shit right there.
My Twitter game doesn't look very strong. If he was over on Facebook, you might be like, "Oh, this dude's got some followers."
He is on Facebook.
not on my page, but hey, Sean, if you're listening, links in the bottom. Check us out. No, you know what? That's my thing. If I can, I'll take I love what y'all are doing. I enjoy sitting back and watching Aaron, Ray, Throwback, all you guys doing your thing, man. I am all about, let me just put over whoever I can. If Sean doesn't pick me for a show, dude, I hope he picks one of you guys. You know I'm going to watch. You know I'm going to support. You know I'm going to tweet that, like that.
But that's why it's the best thing about being friends. We can rag on each other for hours and stuff like that. I think when we did the gaming stream later on Saturday night, Aaron was like looking at this and for a second because I was watching on my other laptop. Me and Anakin kept dying, and he smiled, looking like you guys just don't get how to do this game, do you? Because he beat the game. It was like It's like he's like telling us how to navigate and stuff, and Anika goes one way, I go the other, and there he is just shaking his head.
Oh, like Ali from Retribution, dictating his distribution members.
Speaking of,
they keep failing at it.
Reports are he has apparently been wrestling with a partially torn MCL. So props to the man. Get healthy. He's a good dude.
You got the big win yesterday, huh?
Yeah. Already beating your champion. Less than a week into his reign.
Damn.
How WWE of them.
Let's build him up strong.
I would like to see, speaking of Riddle in the U.S. title, I would like to see Drew go after that, actually. That'd be kind of fun.
I think that it's eventually what's going to happen is that they're going to end up putting Miz over to SmackDown and just breaking that record. There's
why not have Miz?
There's some things
he always switches brands on the drafts.
Yeah.
Every single one, he has always switched.
There was something saying that I was just glancing through, and somebody had I don't know if it was real or fake or what, that Miz might be looking to get closer towards the tail end of his career just because with kids and stuff. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, the guy has been doing it for a long time. Hell, he's been on reality TV for about over 21 years. Think that.
And he's
That's
consistent.
just
I
insane.
know we shit on him, but it's more his booking. It's not him, but he's been consistent. He always, he's like a promo away always from being in a title picture. I mean, he can turn it on and off. He did that part with Lashley. That whole thing, I think he played it pretty well.
The whole show,
that was his job, and everybody was like, "It's a joke." Well, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they fumbled the Money in the Bank briefcase so bad he had to win it. If he doesn't win that title, then it's why even have the briefcase?
Yeah, and I echo you perfectly there. Like throughout Raw, I was like, man, like this is annoying, this is dumb, and I had to constantly remind myself, no, this is what they did with Kofi and Bryan, is they kept making you wait. And I thought we were going to have to wait beyond last night, and I'm glad that we didn't have to. But it was that, Miz always does what they ask him to do, and he does it to the best of his ability, and he did his job perfectly last night. He's done his job perfectly since Elimination Chamber. Everything that he did was perfect as far as like what they were asking him to do. And, you mentioned him kind of getting to the tail end there. I mentioned this before, and you didn't like it, but telling you, man, I want to see in the next 10 years, within the next 10 years, Miz and Bryan as separate GMs for a Survivor Series build, because that would be amazing.
It would be fun. I could be down. I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to wrap this up. It's been an hour in, and everybody, it's got a day has to work tomorrow except me because I'm on vacation still and stuff. So we'll go from
Throwback
bottom
partying all week, baby.
No, I haven't. I've been resting all week.
He's 40. He's old now.
What did Sean say? Like 40 is the new 50?
He said you were pushing 50.
Yeah, if 40 is like the new 50, but I've gotten told that, hey, I might look like I'm 40. I might be 40, but I look like I'm 25 from some of my friends. I'm like,
hell yeah.
I'll take it. Still, I mean, why not? Ray, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on the Twitter, AngryBeaver1127. I do wrestling pay-per-view prediction shows for WWE, Impact, and AEW. So, as mentioned, AEW has Revolution this weekend, so I will be producing one of those probably Thursday, since I want to wait until Dynamite actually goes through. That way we can see if we got any last-minute changes. But be on the lookout for that. Post it on my Twitter, which is at AngryBeaver1127.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll be able to get you doing that live on the new channel, because now that's up and running and it's in the description. So go subscribe. The quicker we can get 100 subscriptions, the quicker we could change that URL. Other than that, John, well, tell them that you can find you with that little finger of yours.
With my finger. I'm making plays. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Wrestling Plug Inc. Doing big things. Got the squash match I just started, which is like a podcast that I do on my ride home from work, because I have about a 40-minute commute, and it's a good way to just decompress and go over some thoughts. As always, still doing those independent spotlights. Last week we had Billy Starks, Randy West, Masha Slamovich. You know, you can see them on IWTV. Yesterday, I just dropped one with Christian Mock. So if you'd be appreciated if you could check that out. You could, like I said, you know, just trying to do my best thing to put as many people over as possible, man. This wrestling community is amazing, and you don't have to just like me, like everybody else too, you know. They're doing good things. Like I love Ray's predictions. He's got good takes, throwback, doing his thing, and Aaron, you know, he's killing it too over there.
And the contract has just been going to be slid into that DM very shortly for Wrestling Plug Inc. And there is a clause on there that nobody gets the Brock deal. Can't afford that stuff.
What? I can't just do 5 shows a year?
No. It's one a week.
One a week, man. Hey, if you want me on, anybody wants me on anytime, just hit me up, and if I can make it work with scheduling and kids and whatnot too, I'm always down to talk.
Dude, with that new channel, you'll be able to do it on your own when you're ready. And so, like I said, all you got to do is just hit Rob and Mia
all hour on the hour.
It would just be like you on your show and like Rob's. By the way, before I get to Aaron plugging his stuff, check out Rob in the Mix. The pilot episode's on the new channel, Wicked Crazy Crew TV. Subscribe and give a like to that video. Rob worked really hard on that pilot episode, and he's got another one coming up this week. But the magnificent one with 3 shows in 1 week, which I can't do on a regular basis on different things. AnakinJMt, where they can find you, my friend.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's hard, but it's fun to do 3 shows a week. So you can find me on the Twitter at Aaron J's fan, and you can find me on YouTube at AnakinJMt. Just search me up on YouTube. You should find me. And I do 3 shows a week. This Monday I did a wrestling show. It's all about wrestling. Thursday is all about pop culture, and Saturday is a sports show why we love sports. So come check me out.
All right. Other than that, check out Fightful. Check out all the stuff they're doing tomorrow. Listen to your boys tomorrow. I'm hoping to get back on recording podcasts for a little bit on the audio side. I figured, I'd take a couple of weeks off just to clear my head. I'm going to try to do it every other week now instead of every week. That way I'm not burnt out as much because of work. Sister Cousin Designs, check out all their stuff. They do really good stuff. They created that shirt that Sean has for Denise. Also,
just down.
It's a pro.
I coughed.
Yeah. Just check out everything that everybody else does. What Wrestling Plug Inc., what John does, Ray does, Aaron does. If you want something interesting to watch the 40th birthday kind of lordy freaking 40 thing we did on Saturday at 1 and last Saturday. Check that out. Comment, subscribe, hit the like button. We are 4 away from literally hitting 220 subscribers. That's insane. And the show will be 1 year old in May. So I never thought I'd get to this point. And now we're just expanding it with the ability to stream with multiple platforms. So that will help a little bit to get the word out. Check out Fightful's Facebook page. Check out Wicked Crazy Pinfalls Facebook page, Wrestling Plug Inc., all that stuff. There's so much. But something serious too. Let me see if I can pull that up. I gotta get through Facebook to do it. No, I had it on. Oh, it's right there. Okay. There's something going on, and because the reason why my head's all over the place this week. Let me pull this up. And I know the people on Meet Me are not going to see it unless they're watching us. So, all right. So, right here. My aunts have had Jackson for years and stuff like that. And Jackson is a dog where my aunt can use him as a comfort dog and stuff like that. And he's not doing too great right now. They set up a GoFundMe page for him for hospital bills and stuff like that. The last update is that they're going to be taking his leg through surgery soon. But the mass inside his belly is still there, and they need to go into surgery to safely remove it. Jackson is literally their baby. He's part of their family for a long time. And he's been a part of our lives in general, in my family, for a long time too. He's the sweetest dog you'll ever meet. When I mean do something, I don't ask anybody to donate or anything at all for myself or anything, but this is something my aunts are very helpful, fortunate, and thankful for people to helping with the GoFundMe. So if you have even a couple of dollars, just, said that and say, your nephew sent you and all that stuff. And just, this dog's amazing. And, just keep your thoughts and prayers and stuff like that. They have the GoFundMe on Facebook, but, I have it pinned to my Twitter. So if you ever want to go check it out, see what you can do, and that's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I just figured I'd put that out there. Like I said, do a good deed, pay it forward. So since we are now officially on Twitch on Tuesdays now, who do you guys want me to raid?
Fightful, of course.
What does raid mean?
You basically have everybody transfer over there. The
We take over
options are...
We take over their account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Fightful's up right now. Wrestling Story, Rhyme Style, who's somebody I follow for gaming information, and Paige Soraya is on right now. So
I used to watch Impact on Twitch. That was the only.
Well,
reason I
that's
had a
the
Twitch. Is that still a
Fightful
thing?
actually. Yeah, Fightful actually has the Twitch stream along with Steven Jensen, Joel Pearl, and Jeremy Lambert. So I think that's a good one because then you get Impact and you get the Fightful. You get a double support there.
There you go.
Oh,
Maybe I'll have to check that out.
all right, so we'll raid Fightful then, and then another time we'll raid somebody else on another Tuesday. So I just started the raid up. Other than that, guys, go check it out. Do a good deed, pay it forward. Just keep checking everything out. Subscribe to the Twitch. Want to get up to 50 eventually. Try to get up to 220 soon. Might be doing a St. Patrick's Day show. Might be wearing a kilt. So, other than that,
I want to see that.
You want to see that? There's pictures on
that's
Facebook.
How you boost those numbers. Those show off them legs.
Yeah. Other than that, do a good deed, pay it forward. I'll be hanging around tomorrow. So if anybody needs anything, you know what to get. Want to thank everybody on the Facebook page that sent a like or a comment. Rita Daniels, who's Mark Melia, Roger Blanchett, Yoshi. I know you're watching. Everybody in the chat, do a good deed, pay it forward, and just have a good time. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and do the same thing with these guys. They work their asses off and might as well do it. So have a good night.